let's get into our third round rules. Everything gets doubled. Once again, a great take gives you 800 points. A good take gives you 400. Okay take gives you 200. And a bad take, you come home empty-handed. The funny thing is, we have had unanimous agreement on our first two segments. I have a feeling that is going to change in this next one. So, in Major League Baseball, two massive trades, or I should say two massive trades, two massive offseason moves. The Yankees trading for Padres superstar, now Yankees superstar player Juan Soto, who won the World Series with the Nationals in 2019 as a multi-time all-star player, fantastic player, and one of the most notable free agents, maybe the most notable free agent in the history of Major League Baseball, and I do not think that's hyperbolic. Shohei Ohtani signing a 10-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers. It is the richest contract in the history of American team sports. However, it is basically getting backloaded to save the team some money. Again, baseball obviously is a no-cap sport, so that doesn't necessarily need to do that, but it does help the team to potentially add more talent. And listen, I'm just going to say this right now. I know Dalton's a Dodgers fan. We'll get to him. But if the Dodgers add Yamamoto, it's over. Dodgers World Series champions 2024. I'll start with you, Mike Guida. I think I have a feeling where you're going with this. I probably have a feeling where Dalton's going with this, but I'll ask you anyway. What is the more impactful offseason move? Is it Soto to the Yankees? Is it Ohtani to the Dodgers?
You're starting with me, Bryson. Is that what you said?
I'm starting with you, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I right now I think it's Juan Soto to the Yankees, and I think that Ohtani to the Dodgers is without a doubt crazy impactful. But the Dodgers, I think, are solving a problem that they don't necessarily have with the Ohtani issue, because Ohtani's not going to pitch next year. They still need tons of starting pitching. Even with Buehler coming back, I'm assuming that Kershaw is going to come back on some sort of short-term one-year contract as well. And like I said, I think Ohtani's not going to pitch until the very earliest 2025, and we don't know what kind of pitcher he'll be then. But right now, I think it's Juan Soto to the Yankees because I think they solved their biggest need. This was a team that was 29th in Major League Baseball in batting average. The only team that was worse than them were the Oakland Athletics. And how many games did they win? Like 40? They were just absolutely terrible. And regardless of what you do in that lineup, right, because it's going to be Aaron Judge and Juan Soto in the 2 and 3 hole for the Yankee lineup. These are two guys that get on base a ton. Juan Soto had a 257 batting average last year, but got on base over 40% of the time. Regardless of how you look at it, that's protection for both guys, regardless of how you line them up. This is an outfielder that, despite the fact that he's not great defensively and not great on the bases, this is a guy that fills the exact hole that the Yankees are trying to fill. It gives them the middle of the order bat that I think that this is better than what they could have asked for. So, and I also think, truthfully, if you look long-term, I think the Yankees are very I probably shouldn't say very likely, but are likely to bring him back after this 1 year. So right now, I think it's Juan Soto. I just think that right now they solved the issue that they needed to solve, and the Dodgers still have things that they need to address heavily with something that they struggled with last year, and that's really missing out a lot of starting pitching.
They did miss out on a lot of starting pitching, although I'd argue a lot of that is due to injury. Obviously, we know what's been going on with Walker Buehler.
Yeah, it's a lot of young guys. I mean, I think I don't know what the situation with Julio Urias is going to be really ugly. I'm not sure where that's going to end up going. Guys like Dustin May, I think, could come back and contribute in a big way to that rotation as well. But again, at the top end of that rotation, I think you're really relying on guys that are coming back from injuries. So it really depends. I still think that that's an area of need they have to address heavily.
You know, Mike Guida, you probably thought as a Red Sox fan I was just going to screw you over just because I completely disagree with you, and I don't think this is a massive, or I shouldn't say not a massive. It's not as impactful of a move as Ohtani, but nonetheless, I think you made a good case. I'm going to give you a great take here, Mike. I'm going to be nice to you today because I thought you were on point in terms of they did fill a hole. Again, I think Ohtani doesn't fill a hole in LA. You are correct about that. I do think Ohtani, though, is again one of the, I'm not going to say greatest because he hasn't played long enough, but one of the best baseball players we've ever seen in our lifetimes. Shifting now to you, Adam, what's the more impactful move? Is it Juan Soto to the Yankees, or is it Shohei Ohtani to the Los Angeles Dodgers?
I think at the moment right now, with Ohtani signing that massive deal for the Dodgers, in the moment now, it's the most impactful move. But kind of what Guido was saying, long-term and possibly as like a revitalization for the Yankees, Soto to the Yankees fixing their problems, whereas the Dodgers are just adding depth. Right. And that's fantastic. You have to do that. Good teams become great teams. Great teams become juggernauts when they're able to continue to add depth and flexibility to their roster. So it's massively impactful this year, I think, for the LA Dodgers. But in terms of impactful as an organization and as a team, I do feel like I have to edge a little bit over to the Yankees, because I do think that when you can take a player and you can complement it with somebody like Judge, and you have that 2-3 spot, or you have a solid hitter who can get on base, and it can help revitalize that organization and start getting other players to say, hey, maybe I got to go back to the pinstripes. I think it's going to be most impactful for the Yankees as a turnaround. But if we're talking about in the moment, I would say the Dodgers.
Okay, you make good points all the way around. I think,
that's from someone who doesn't give an F about baseball.
I was gonna say that was given that was actually a pretty darn good analysis by Bessie. And listen, whether or not the Yankees are able to pick up free agents in the future because of a move like this, we'll see. I know a lot of people talked about, hey, it was this massive contract or massive deal bringing Aaron Judge back. Yes, you just retained a player though. You didn't add a guy last year in free agency, and obviously that's part of the reason Judge dealt with some injuries. Obviously, why the Yankees offense was as putrid as it was. You know what, Adam? I'm going to give you a great take here. I'm going to give Adam 1,400 points to tied Mike Guido. So listen, again, we have yet to get a single bit of pushback on the Grid Network on this show, on the 8 o'clock spots on a segment. I have a big time feeling that, Dalton, you are going to be the very first.
Yeah, but we will now.
Yeah, we're getting it now. So I will ask the question just as a formality. Dalton Brown, is Juan Soto to the Yankees a bigger deal, or is Shohei Ohtani to the Dodgers a bigger deal?
Yeah, listen, so Mike, first of all, I want to say I respect the fact that you came at it from the narrow angle that you had to in order to make Soto the better deal. That narrow angle being, like, let's assume that the offseason's over today and the Dodgers aren't going to address their pitching with all of the money that they just saved. Look, here's the reality of it. We can say that Ohtani doesn't fill a need for the Dodgers. It does. There's a DH in the National League now, and the Dodgers just let JD Martinez walk. He absolutely fills a short-term need for the Dodgers, and he unequivocally fills a long-term need for the Dodgers as both the best power hitter in the game, top 5 power hitter in the game, and being one of the game's best pitchers. So to suggest that he doesn't fill a need, I think is a little bit of a stretch. I get where you're trying to come from there. But let's also talk about how much easier he makes it now for them to fill their needs, because they're not actually paying him $70 million per year for the next 10 years. They now have tons of cash to go get Yamamoto, go get Snell. They're already in talks on a guy like Glass now, maybe a Josh Hader. If it were March 30th, I'd be concerned. I'm not. They are about to go crazy in free agency. They have more than $100 million to work with right now to do so. And oh, by the way, they have the inside track on Yamamoto. Like, let me make that abundantly clear. Yamamoto has spent his entire life in Japan as a Dodgers fan, and now his idol, Shohei Ohtani, just signed there and is undoubtedly recruiting him and trying to bring him there. He was at Dodger Stadium today for a visit. I think they're the clear favorite to make that happen. To address the Juan Soto situation, too, it's not to take anything away from that move. I think it's a great move by the Yankees. It addresses a need. He's a great player. But the reality is right now he's under contract for 1 year. I mean, if we're talking about impact, like just impact immediately for a team, I can kind of see where you're coming from. But if we're talking about overall impact across an organization and across the next decade, I mean, this is not even an argument at this point.
Yeah, and listen, obviously you talk about Shohei Ohtani filling a need at the DH spot with the National League adding that a couple of years back. And that is one thing I 100% agree with you in the fact that a lot of folks are talking about. I know, Mike, you brought up, hey, he's not going to be pitching next year. And, hey, what is he when he comes back? I think Nathan Eovaldi of the Rangers is a prime example. Had not one but 2 Tommy John surgeries. An argument can be made. This is the best he's ever looked in his career. Obviously, he was great with my Red Sox, and now he was basically the ace with the injury to DeGrom with the Rangers to help him win a World Series. So great points across the board. And for that, I'm going to give Dalton Brown a great take. So we got a 3-way tie at the top, but Dylan Lima right there for this take. So I'll ask you, Dylan, is the Juan Soto move to the Yankees a bigger deal, or Shohei Ohtani to the Dodgers a bigger deal?
So I'm going to agree with Dalton here. I do believe Shohei is, I think he's the most impactful player in the whole MLB. He shows, sure, he won't be pitching next year because obviously his arm is a problem, but that won't stop him from raking. He showed how great of a bat he was last season, and I don't see why he won't be able to do that, especially now you'll have more motivation on a juggernaut of a team like the Dodgers. And with Soto only being a 1-year deal, if the Yankees fall flat again, why would Soto have any reason to re-sign? And I honestly kind of just see him as a Giancarlo replacement, considering he's never healthy. And when he is healthy, he just can't hit anything that's not a home run. So I think they're kind of sidestepping with while Soto is a very good player. And I think he will bring a lot of impact to the Yankees in the short term. I would love to see some Shohei playoff baseball, just to see him in the bright lights and perform like how he did in the World Baseball Classic before the regular season started, where he was just lights out. My only concern, and I think this is just more of a general MLB thing, and we did kind of talk about before the show, but I wanted to expand. I don't like how the contract is being deferred. I think that's overall bad for the sport, because while it's kind of like a once in a while deal, it won't be someone that everybody can do. I think just the weird economic dynamics where certain teams can just splurge on players and other teams can't. I think it'll allow the Dodgers to do a lot more funny money, where they could just sign everyone they want if they could just have all their back players on back pay and just pay them when they're not even playing anymore. It kind of cheapens the game. And for, I think, not just in the short term, but if they, again, this is the first time it's happened. Who's to say it's not going to happen more in the future when teams are in dire economic and they need to defer? I don't like it, but I'm not an expert on that, so.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Here's the thing: is the big market teams have always gotten the free agents. The Dodgers now are officially, they might as well be the richest team in Major League Baseball. I think I saw Mookie Betts and Shohei's contract, and we obviously know how Shohei's contract is structured. But if you combine the two, I think they make more than the entire Miami Marlins payroll. So again, there are levels to this. Bigger markets like the Dodgers, Red Sox, Yankees, Mets are able to spend more money. They're simply able to spend more money than teams like the A's or the Tampa Bay Rays or organizations like that. So that hasn't changed in the last week. That's always been the case. But I'll give Dylan an okay take there for that segment, but I don't totally agree, Dylan, that it is necessarily bad for baseball, because I don't think it's that different from the way baseball's been for quite some time. Let's see, we got some comments here before we get to our final round, a very interesting final round, I might add, but Alonzo Diaz says Ohtani is the GOAT. He says adding the best player of all time is definitely more impactful, but I respect the opinion. Wow, he's taking a shot at you, man. Alonzo and Adam is like the new rivalry. He's talking about Adam don't know ball. Jeez, shots are taken right now.
He's just mad. Yeah, he must be part of Dalton's faction. Dalton's like, I don't want to lose points today, so make sure when Adam starts talking, like, come in and start clapping at him. So it's all good.
Man, these shots are fired right now. It's a feisty 8 o'clock spot. So here's what we're gonna do. Well, first of all, Dylan, great effort today. 700 points on the day. Dylan, thank you so much once again for joining us here on the 8 o'clock spot. So I'll have to take you off. We'll obviously have you on at the end.